was just his presence.
A violent man, a mystery, and a race against time.
Assault me, violate me, and almost kill me, and nothing can be done. Ever.
Tonight, our exclusive investigation, Expired Justice, reveals how Ohio law allows some rapists to walk free.
Live on your side, investigator Sarah Buttison here tonight with the story of one family's fight to put a violent attacker behind bars.
When a stranger raped her, Mary Ellen Bryan never saw his face. She thought she would never see justice. But then something lost was found. It changed everything, except the one thing that mattered most.
It was so hot. The night was so hot.
The night, nearly 30 years ago.
I just saw him at the door. Saw a stranger at my door.
It still haunts her.
And he charged me with blankets in his hands.
Seared into her memory.
I thought he was going to kill me.
Forever.
So it was terrifying.
Mary Ellen Bryan was in bed, awake, waiting for her husband to come home.
I was laying on my side, and there he was.
The stranger covered her face with the blankets, then a pillow, and pressed down.
And he suffocated me till I was close to death.
She stopped struggling.
The adrenaline that was going through my body is something I can't even describe.
He let her breathe, then raped her. Twice.
Nothing I could have said, nothing I could have done would have talked him out of it. Nothing. That's a scary thing, that there's nothing could have saved me.
She tried not to make a sound.
I was scared that one of my children would wake up and come in.
All four asleep just feet away.
That was what I was initially most afraid of, that one of my children would wake up and he would kill them.
After all, he had already been in one of their rooms.
Thank God she didn't wake up.
The blankets he smothered her with came from 2-year-old Nora's crib.
Before he left, he said he was going to shoot me if I got up.
Then he disappeared.
Those are the exact words, "I'll shoot you if you get up."
I remember fear.
Jane was 12.
My mother always wanted her bedroom door locked.
Mary Ellen's oldest daughter says the stranger became a phantom.
We had no idea who this person was, and that was haunting.
Years passed.
Never really heard back.
Then decades.
Any leads? Nothing.
Akron police had no answers. As the clock kept ticking, she lost hope.
Yes, absolutely.
Then
I thought, finally.
A discovery.
Finally, we're going to know who it was who changed our lives.
In 2012, Ohio started testing its backlog of sexual assault kits, languishing in police evidence rooms.
When we look at them, each one represents a person. Each one represents a victim.
A detective found Mary Ellen's wedged between a wall and shelf.
When my kit was tested, they found a DNA match that came through CODIS, and the match was that it was a person named Derek Fisher.
So who is he? Fisher has a long criminal history of drug trafficking, domestic violence, and rape. Just months after Mary Ellen's attack, not far from her home, police say Fisher suffocated a woman with a pillow, then sexually assaulted her. Mary Ellen wanted to press charges, but when she met with prosecutors, she learned those DNA results didn't matter.
It was, gut-wrenching, especially I saw his picture, I saw his rap sheet, saw how violent he was.
For her, justice expired.
I mean, this was a violent crime where my children were home, and he got away with it.
Like most states, Ohio has a statute of limitations for rape, a law that creates a clock. It starts when the crime is committed and currently runs out after 25 years.
Punishes the victims. It's another assault on us. We know what we deserve.
The statute means despite new evidence like a DNA hit to a convicted rapist, Mary Ellen's case will never be reopened, which means no one will ever face charges and no one will ever be convicted. We also found she's not alone. The Ohio Attorney General says there are 60 more DNA hits from backlog kits in cases that can never be prosecuted, like this one in Medina County. In 1993, a woman was raped in a field by a man she was driving home. Police were notified about a DNA hit, just weeks after the statute expired.
If there's a statute of limitations, that means there's a lot of rapists out there that are going to remain on the streets.
Camille Cooper is the vice president of policy for RAIN, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network.
Most of these guys don't have one victim. Most of them don't even have one or two victims. Most of them have a lot of victims.
Guys like William Griffith, currently behind bars for 2 rapes. We found his DNA hit to a rape kit from 1980 in Olmsted Township, long past the statute.
It's a release of a letter signed
Things
by,
could change. Ohio's Attorney General Dave Yost wants the statute abolished, and more than 24 state lawmakers have backed a bill to eliminate it. But even if that bill passes, it still won't matter for Mary Ellen.
It's disappointing.
Any new law cannot turn back the clock on old cases.
It's maddening.
Remember Nora, the little girl who had a rapist steal blankets from her bed?
And the state would move this court to nolly the remaining counts in the indictment.
She grew up to be a county prosecutor,
Enter a plea of guilty to count 1 of the indictment.
driven by her mother's unpunished attack.
Everybody deserves justice, but she's my mom.
This is a camera that we use to obtain forensic documentation.
Just like Jane,
It does sound heavy and it is hard.
Mary Ellen's oldest daughter is a sexual assault nurse, comforting victims as she collects evidence from their bodies.
I feel honored to be with them in that moment when they feel vulnerable and that they allow me to be in the room with them.
Each seeks the justice denied their family
Moving forward, I can do the best I can for every victim.
before the clock runs out.
Time doesn't change for me. I mean, I'm always going to have that feeling, always for the rest of my life.
Derek Fisher's DNA recently hit on another rape case, this one from 2010 in Barberton, where he could still face charges. While police investigate, Fisher remains behind bars on a domestic violence conviction. He's scheduled to be released in 2022. He declined our interview request. I'm 5 on Your Side investigator Sarah Buttison.